This is not only a huge step for our company, but for the entire global media industry.
Because here is a sneak peek of my new song. I whip my back and forth.
They're saying things just to say them, even though they don't believe them. They're putting people on their channel just to say that they have them, and they're losing a lot of their black creators.
It's also about the fact that so many former staff members and cast members have bravely spoken out and reached out to me privately about how they were mistreated during their time at the company as people of color and or women, and other people who have witnessed their mistreatment.
Hey, it's your Uncle Herman here, and I'm still an alpha male, and also still disturbed by the amount of things that the Fine Bros have managed to sweep under the rug over the past few years. And so in this video, I want to talk about the controversies that the Fine Bros have somehow recovered from with next to no damage to their general reputation. And I'm not out here trying to maliciously damage their reputation myself, I just simply want to bring light to a few of the things that I've noticed over the years that have made me slightly uncomfortable and distrusting of the Fine Bros and their online brand. If you don't know who the Fine Bros are, let me bring you up to speed. You might be familiar with their most notable series on the platform, their React series, including Teens React, Kids React, YouTubers React, Elders React, and so on, along with various spin-offs in which they mainly get groups of people to react to online content and ask them questions about it. A pretty simple React format that's managed to crack the algorithm and reel in the views over the years. The Fine Bros are made up of brothers Benny and Rafi Fine, who together run the company Fine Brothers Entertainment and have been making online content together since 2004, joining YouTube in 2007 right after its conception. For a long time, they've been considered one of the pioneering creators on YouTube, and their widespread success across both YouTube and mainstream entertainment have been celebrated by many for a while on YouTube, as we saw them all sell their shows, such as Celeb Reacts, to mainstream entertainment channels and somewhat popularized reaction content. The Fine Bros managed to stay out of YouTube drama for the majority of their career. That was until January 2016, when they announced that they would be licensing and trademarking their React series. On January 26, 2016, Benny and Rafi Fine released a video announcing their plans to license and trademark their React series, and what started to catch the attention of a wider audience was what seemed like their intentions to trademark the term React on YouTube.
January, they lit up the internet with one big announcement.
We are excited to announce React World,
a service meant to make it easier for people to create React-style videos for a share of that video's revenue. And that was one big issue, but what really got people in a tizzy was their attempted trademarking of the word React. This was, without any exaggeration, one of the most talked about business moves any YouTube channel had ever made. And if the Fine Bros were hoping to inspire more people to create reaction videos with React World, well, they certainly succeeded, but not in the way they expected.
This was, in fairness to them, spun on YouTube in a way that made people believe that they were attempting to trademark and claim any YouTube video with the term React in the title, which was largely not the case. They received a large amount of backlash because of this and ended up losing hundreds and thousands of subscribers in a very short amount of time, but the reason that the rumours about them copywriting the very word React, and to a larger extent the genre of reaction content on YouTube, was so easy to believe was because there actually was some evidence that people were being copyright striked by the Fine Bros. They released an apology video saying that they will not be copyright striking or taking any money from other reaction videos on YouTube, but there were people who allegedly were asked to take down their videos by the Fine Bros.
Teens react to Sonic.exe, teens react to Smash Brothers 64, teens react to Smash Brothers Wii U, and all of a sudden, a few months ago, I was hit with some content ID matches, some copyright strikes from Fullscreen. Now, if you don't know what Fullscreen is, they are a YouTube network that the Fine Brothers are actually a part of.
And they had previously called out bigger networks for supposedly stealing their format, such as when The Ellen Show did a segment where she introduces kids to old technology and they react to it. Even though they may have popularized reaction content, they certainly didn't create it, and to say that Ellen was ripping off their format here is a reach, in my opinion. But this is their first major controversy, and by major I mean that people outside of the YouTube bubble were reporting on it, and though it was morally questionable, it wouldn't be the be-all and end-all of their careers, and people would soon forgive and forget, or indeed find their channel long after this scandal. But recently, some much more harmful content has been arising from the Fine Bros past that's been flying under the radar for a long time. One thing that surfaced earlier this year during the Shane Dawson allegations was a web show that the Fine Bros produced with Shane Dawson called Hey It's Millie. Hey It's Millie was a YouTube channel created in 2010 by Shane Dawson, Ben and Raffi Fine. The channel was centered around a puppet called Millie who represented an 8-year-old girl, and the content was, to put it lightly, incredibly harmful and disturbing. Pretty much the whole idea behind it was that Millie would constantly make innuendos without understanding what she was saying. She would be incredibly lies, and they even made her racist.
Maybe I'm not understanding this right.
Maybe you're not.
I don't know what is.
Oh.
So what is pornography?
Porn is a type of filmmaking.
Oh, it's a filmmaking! Yay!
No.
Like this! We're making porn together!
No, we're not
Everyone
making
come on
porn.
down and watch Ralphie the Grown Man make porn with an 8-year-old!
No.
Almost 9.
It's a type of filmmaking and films that are only for adults.
It's like segregation, like back when the blacks weren't allowed to go to the same bathroom.
Not the same thing whatsoever.
Yes, it is. You're segregating little kids. All of my little kid friends.
Now, puppets are usually aimed at kids. There are things out there that play on expectations by using puppets, but then having adult content. For example, Avenue Q, a musical that talks about adult themes through puppets, marketed as a sort of Sesame Street for adults. But that kind of thing is age restricted. On YouTube, especially in 2010, this was accessible to anyone, and it looks like it's been made for kids. There's nothing in place to stop kids from watching this, and kids did watch this. It was largely watched by kids. I'm going to link a Twitter thread below that shows more unedited clips from this show, as it genuinely makes me feel sick, so please do watch at your own discretion. But I won't put any more in this video for both of our sakes. Now, 2010 was a different time, and you could use the same defense that many people used in Shane Dawson's case, which is that this is edgy humour and people should be able to joke about whatever they want. And whilst I can understand that to an extent, Hey It's Millie was plain disturbing, and it was available to kids. The Fine Bros knew what they were doing when they made these videos. They made a whole series where a puppet who keeps mentioning that she's 8 years old talks about sex and abuse. It might not be outright offensive, but it is deeply disturbing. It was extremely explicit content that children were watching and that sexualized minors. But this isn't the only content that surfaced of the Fine Bros recently. The Fine Bros have a long history of making online content, and in their large archive of content, videos have surfaced of them using discriminatory stereotypes, including the video in which one of the brothers appears in blackface. Now, if you aren't aware of why this is so harmful, then I will link a history of this practice in the description, but needless to say, this is pretty damning evidence that the Fine Bros have a whole catalogue of harmful content that is now only slowly being unveiled. Many creators spoke up about this following the circulation of the video, including people who'd been a part of the React channel. Amongst the first to come forward was Kennedy Zimmett, who announced that she would be leaving the React channel. She tweeted out a statement where she explained that she had no knowledge that the Fine Brothers had produced this video, and that the last time that she voiced her experiences as a black person on their channel, she had to deal with death threats on her own. She then made a video explaining further why she had left the channel.
So by now you know that yes, I did make the decision to leave React along with some of my fellow cast members, and this is my second time leaving the channel. Normally I would not discuss the circumstances surrounding my departure, but in this case I do have to speak up, and there are some things that I do need to clarify. Some of the people who brought these videos to my attention were under the impression that I knew about these videos and the fact that they didn't acknowledge them or apologize about them publicly before I participated in this Black Lives Matter video. And I'm here to clarify with you that that is not the case. I had no idea about these, and like I said, when I found out, I was just shocked. Because they hadn't acknowledged or publicly addressed or apologized for these videos up until last night, I felt that I was used for performative activism, and that does not sit right with me. I also mentioned in my statement that prior to this video being released, I sent an email to FBE asking for their support in whatever negativity or hate would come my way as a result of speaking out about my experience as a black person again on the channel, and I received no response. The reason why I sent this email is because I have talked about my experience being a black person in previous episodes, and there was one where I did get a lot of hate. I got a lot of death threats, and one death threat that I actually had to take seriously because the person knew my address. So I told the staff about this, I told them about the death threats, I told them about the hate that I was getting and the fact that I had to file a police report, and I still got no support. I had to handle everything on my own. There are so many awful things that I've heard from former staff members and cast members over the last 24 hours that shocked me, and this is why I'm speaking out. These are the reasons why I'm being vocal.
Kennedy was just one of many reactors who decided to leave the Fine Brothers Entertainment in solidarity, and after this, many former employees of the Fine Brothers started to come out with their stories of discrimination that they witnessed and experienced whilst working there. Austin Miller tweeted that, "During my time at FBE, it was clear that there was a lack of representation in hiring practices and creative decision making across the company. Female POC co-workers of mine were treated unfairly by primarily white male upper management." One producer said that as a producer, when getting episode thumbnails approved, we came to learn that they wanted to benefit from the diversity but not benefit diversity. Thumbnails with 2 POC at least, as long as the Fine still directly gave notes on them, would be denied. After all of this came out, the Fine Brothers released a statement on Twitter apologising for their past and saying that they were ashamed. They also addressed what they would be implementing in the future of their company. Now, in my opinion, this is very much a "sorry I got caught" apology, and though recognising these issues within their company is hopefully going to be a good thing going forwards, it is my opinion that the damage has already been done, and there is evidence to suggest that the employees that had been facing this discrimination for however long that they were in the company were not being listened to. For example, following a statement from their CEO addressing the issues that had been made public, former employee Bryn Schuller said that all of these issues were brought up 3+ years ago. There have been multiple company-wide meetings where we tried to address these issues, but there was absolutely no change or follow-up from management after each one. That's why this is so upsetting. Jonathan Rosario Price also came forwards and explained on their Instagram story about the concerns and frustrations of working at the Fine Bros Entertainment.
If anybody's wondering or is unsure of my status with FBE, as of now I am officially terminating my contract with them. From day one, I stood in solidarity with Kennedy. I put my face in front of a camera, which wasn't hard, and reached out to her. Do you hear that, FBE? I put my face in front of a camera and reached out to her. It wasn't hard. And I still stand by Kennedy and my friends who left FBE. My first email reads, "Hello, blank. In light of Kennedy being in breach of contract, or in other words, brave, holding people accountable, and fighting racism in all forms, I have something to share that I was too frightened to speak on." I then go on to list specific incidences with reactors, people in positions of power, people who can at least affect my employment with FBE, and also their contribution to harassment, retaliation, a hostile work environment, and also the worsening of my mental health. Please keep in mind that diversity means absolutely nothing without structural change. So I go in and say, I must let it be known that I do applaud actual structural change that has been promised, but it's only been promised. But 1, the launching of a diversity and inclusion task force made up of BIPOC and Latinx means nothing if these people are just corporate puppets or assimilated. AKA, the loss of revenue is such an apology deemed necessary by FBE. Think about it. Right now it's looking like we don't matter, that Black lives don't matter, because there hasn't been a massive drop in subscribers. Partially because this has not been addressed on your largest platforms, not because we actually matter. They've made their choice. They've only reached out to me after I left. I've done my crying. I'm upset now. So that's it for now.
These allegations are, of course, circled on Twitter, and so it's hard to find solid evidence to back up people's experiences like this. But at the same time, when there's a certain number of people coming forwards and talking of similar experiences within a company, it's enough for me personally to have reason to believe that the Fine Bros built a company that did not provide an equal and safe working environment for all. In July of this year, a user by the name of Nern, an employee of Fine Brothers Entertainment, came forward and explained their frustrations with Fine Brothers Entertainment, or FBE, and the fact that Ben and Rafi Fine allegedly left the company at this time.
They all talk about how they want to be transparent with the staff, how they want to be transparent with the reactors, but that's definitely not something that has been happening. And the only reason why they're maybe being a little transparent with the staff now is because it's all being played out like on Twitter. It's like being discussed publicly. If this wasn't discussed publicly at all, nothing would have happened. They'd have continued ignoring reactors. They would have continued ignoring staff. Even now, they're trying to not even acknowledge that the founders, Rafi and Benny Fine, have left. It's been a week since this news has happened internally. Why is this not being announced publicly? Probably because that would mean that if it is announced Benny and Rafi have left FBE, more people would ask why. Why is this happening? and they don't want people to find out what has been happening. A company that makes YouTube videos, how do they let their fans know what is going on, what has happened, what's the drama? It's through a video. The fact that you haven't even denounced like Philia and Hey It's Millie, that was FBE content. It was through the company FBE, you know? Hey It's Millie music is used in Kids React.
Nern has also written out an entire timeline of events as they unfolded during the public airing of the Fine Bros practices within their company that I will link below. Overall, I'm pretty disappointed in the Fine Bros and amazed that a lot of this got swept under the rug. I think due to the scale of their company and the fact that it mostly caters to a younger audience, it seems that it's been easier for these allegations and accounts to have gone largely unnoticed by the larger YouTube sphere. But I for one will not be supporting the Fine Bros any longer, and I truly hope that they had a big enough wake-up call to truly improve the company from the inside out. But as it stands, it looks like Ben and Raffi Fine have actually left their company, which is a very strange and suspicious move in my opinion. I have as always been your Uncle Herman today. You can like and subscribe if you feel like it, or not if you don't feel like it. And I have just dropped alpha face masks, which you can find featured below this video if you want to stay safe and assert your dominance. I will see you very soon in my next video, and thanks again for watching.